Chapter 221. Indiscriminate Attack. Lu Sheng's killing sword gave an order, and a famous emperor-level shot. Rumble. One attack after another landed in the space inside the Sakura divine tree. Under this dense attack, the stealth talent had no way to dodge it. Next to the heart of the tree, Yi Tian secretly said that it was a pity. He originally wanted to steal all the cherry blossom juice, but now there was still a little left. Forget it, just keep these cherry blossom juices. Maybe the cherry blossom god tree can be revived by the islanders again, and it won't be bad for me to harvest another wave in the future. Yi Tian, who had this plan, gave up and continued to extract cherry blossom juice. As for these emperor-level attacks, he really couldn't completely avoid them. It was certain that he would be discovered. And the exit was blocked, and he had to force his way out. Space confinement. Yi Tian used his spatial talent to freeze this space. Then, he teleported to the wooden door. At this time, the wooden door was blocked by two emperors. Get out! Yi Tian killed the two emperor level with a single knife and forcibly rushed out. It was all done in the blink of an eye. After Yi Tian rushed out of the cherry blossom divine tree, he passed through the cherry blossom hall and became invisible when he entered the outside world. Lu Sheng's killing sword had a gloomy face. He didn't stop the other party. Now, the other party had entered the outside world, and there was no way to look for him, unless he attacked and covered the entire base. But did he dare? A covering attack on the base? Was this to destroy the base? Lord Lu Sheng's sword emperor, there are only about 50 caddies of cherry blossom juice left, and more than 90% of the cherry blossom juice has been lost. The strange thing of the cherry blossom divine tree is probably going to be completely scrapped, said an emperor level with a heavy face. Save the Sakura sap at all costs. This strange thing is a gift from God, the hope for the rise of our Sakuragi superbase. Without it, it would be difficult for our Sakuragi superbase to develop rapidly. Yes! The emperors of several major forces responded. Lord Yanagi's sword emperor, the mysterious emperor who stole the cherry blossom juice just now seems to be Yanagi Heng. An emperor spoke. Yes, I saw it too. It seems to be Lu Shenggang, but isn't Lu Shenggang dead? Lu Shenggang is very crazy and unscrupulous. Maybe he really did it, and there may be something wrong with that corpse. Lord Lu Sheng's sword emperor, we'd better go and check Lu Shengheng's corpse, in case it's a fake corpse, we'll all be tricked. In fact, not only did these emperors notice, but Lu Sheng killing sword also noticed that person's face, which was exactly the same as Lu Shengheng. But he was in anger just now, so he didn't mention it. Now that the other emperors had mentioned it, he naturally wanted to investigate Lu Shenggang's corpse. Let's go. Go check on Yanagi's body. Yanagi killing sword said. Lu Shenggang's body was placed in Lu Shenggang's original residence, and the others came to Lu Shenggang's palace one by one and began to examine Lu Shenggang's body. This careful examination naturally found out that there was a problem. The corpse shows signs of being transformed. This is not Lu Shenggang's corpse. Yanagi killing sword was furious. He was 100% sure that the emperor who stole the cherry blossom juice was Yanagi Heng. Okay, very good, Lu Shenggang. You are really deep enough to hide, and you actually have spatial talents, soul attack talents, and stealth talents. I'm afraid that over the years, you have been using the cherry blossom sap to increase the level of these three talents. And now that the talent has been improved and the power has increased greatly, you have begun to plan to seize the cherry blossom sap. Yanagi Heng, you are too selfish. You are a sinner of our Sakuragi superbase, and a sinner of the island country. Lu Sheng's killing sword roared one after another, and his voice shook thousands of miles. The other emperors were also very angry, snatching more than 90% of the cherry blossom divine trees at once, damaging their interests. Even their juniors would not be able to use the cherry blossom juice in the future. This was tantamount to going against the entire Sakuragi superbase. However, they couldn't find Lu Shenggang, and they didn't even know how to look for him. Perhaps, Yanagi Heng had escaped from the Sakuragi superbase in the first place. Yanagi Shenggang, who had already died, didn't know that he had carried such a big pot and became a sinner in the Sakuragi superbase, which could be regarded as a stench for 10,000 years. For a few days, Lu Shenggang disappeared, and the emperors also gave up looking for Lu Shenggang. But they announced Lu Shenggang's crimes, and announced Lu Shenggang's destruction of the cherry blossom sacred tree, but concealed the cherry blossom juice. This night, Yi Tian came to the headquarters of the flower sect. He used his talent for copying to shroud an attic where a meeting was taking place. Very good. The 5 emperor levels are here. Yi Tian smiled coldly. The 5 emperors of the flower sect were not very powerful. The most powerful one had barely reached the level of the 36 emperors, which was not very powerful. With such 5 emperors, he could kill them in an instant. Rumble. Yi Tian directly broke in, and the space confinement sealed the void. Puff, puff. With one sword, he killed the 5 emperors of the flower sect with just 5 swords. Meanwhile, Yi Tian unleashed the fire domain talent, which was one of the god level 5 elements transformation talents. It was so powerful that it destroyed the headquarters of the flower sect almost instantly, and a large number of grandmasters, king level, and saint level were burned to death. The flower sect perished in a breath. Huajin sect, this is what you asked for. Who let you dare to attack the big base in Huasha? Yi Tian didn't feel cruel at all. He would kill as many as there were such ruthless and cold-blooded island people. Swish! The stealth talent was turned on, and Yi Tian left. After a while, a famous emperor level came to the headquarters of the Huajin sect, only to see the ruins of the Huajin sect after burning and a corpse, and the bones of the 5 emperor level were also found. The 5 emperors of the flower sect died under the sword technique, and the other party disappeared. The first suspect target, Lu Shengeng. After an emperor-level inspection, he spoke. I have to say that Lu Shengeng was back to the pot again. After destroying the flower sect, Yi Tian did not stay in the Sakuragi superbase, and left directly, and immediately returned to the land of Huasha. It didn't take long for Yi Tian to return to the Zhanghai superbase. Heavenly Pavilion. Yi Tian and the Moon Emperor sat in the same room. Yuer, I have gained a lot from going to Sakuragi superbase this time. Yi Tian couldn't wait to take out a bucket of cherry blossom juice. What is this? The Moon Emperor looked curiously at the cherry blossom sap. It's called cherry blossom sap, and it's a magical thing that comes from the body of the strange Sakura sacred tree. It is capable of elevating one's talent, and even raising one's cultivation talent to the morning star. And it can also improve special talents. Even the weaker ones can be promoted to the top, Yi Tian introduced. Such a thing against the sky? The Moon Emperor was surprised. This was the first time she had heard of such a treasure. Yuer, you can drink some and try it, Yi Tian proposed. Good. The Moon Emperor drank some cherry blossom juice, and felt that it tasted good, and there was a hot feeling in the depths of his soul, and the energy of the cherry blossom juice was being absorbed by the talent imprint. The Moon Emperor mobilized the Moon Hand talent imprint to quickly absorb the energy of the cherry blossom sap. Time was ticking. Yi Tian had been observing the Moon Emperor's talent, and soon found that the Moon Emperor's talent had changed. Human, Moon Emperor. Cultivation talent, Dawn Sun. Strength talents, Arcanon. Defense talent, Arcane. Speed talent, Pseudo Mystic, 90%. Luna talent, Mystery. Moonblade talent, Top. Moon Hand talent, Top. Originally, the Moon Emperor's Moon Hand talent was only high, but now it had become a top-notch. Husband, my Moon Hand talent has transformed into a top-notch talent. The Moon Emperor said in surprise. Yuer, you can collect treasures that can increase your talent next. It's best to find a talent that can improve your strength. Even if you can only increase a weak talent, you have to collect it, Yi Tian admonished. The Moon Emperor nodded excitedly. With Sakura juice, her strength was definitely able to grow quickly. Chapter 222. The Moon Emperor went to collect treasures. Although it's very rare to have treasures that can increase the talent of the Emperor level, as long as you find one, you'll make a lot of money. And Yi Tian began to practice in retreat. He wanted to use the cherry blossom sap to improve his other talents. Try the healing talent first. Yi Tian's healing talent was copied from the Sakuragi superbase, and it was just a primary healing talent, so it was just right to test it. He swallowed 1 or 2 cherry blossom juices in one gulp, and gentle energy poured into his soul. Yi Tian took this opportunity to urge the talent imprint of the healing talent to absorb the energy of the cherry blossom sap. Rumble. The healing talent began to metamorphose. In the blink of an eye, it was promoted to a medium healing talent. As the amount of cherry blossom sap energy absorbed, it gradually increased to a high healing talent. Half an hour later, the cherry blossom sap energy was depleted. Didn't make it to the top. Yi Tian wasn't surprised by this. 1 or 2 cherry blossom sap energies could only raise a talent from the highest to the top. It was impossible to raise a talent from the elementary to the top. Yi Tian drank 1 or 2 more cherry blossom juices, and only then did he raise his healing talent to the top level. The top level healing talent was much more powerful than the primary healing talent. Almost all diseases, injuries, and even weak states could be treated. Only a few rare injuries couldn't be treated. The second talent that Yi Tian chose to improve was the talent of substitution. The substitution of death talent is a very awesome talent, but his substitution talent was only of the middle level, and there were great limitations. The first was that it could only be used once in 3 years, and the second was that there was a distance limit. It would be invalid if the distance exceeded 1 million miles. Yi Tian attached great importance to this life-saving talent, and naturally wanted to elevate it to the top level. Gollum. Yi Tian swallowed 2 tails of cherry blossom juice in one gulp, trying to raise the death substitution talent to the top level in one go. Half an hour later, Yi Tian was disappointed and puzzled, because his medium substitution talent had not been promoted to the top level, not even the high level. What's going on? Yi Tian was puzzled. He drank another 1 or 2 of cherry blossom juice, and only then did he elevate his substitution talent from medium to high. I see, ordinary talents only need 1 or 2 cherry blossom sap to get them from high to top, but some talents are a little special and require more cherry blossom sap to be able to get them from high to top. The talent of substitution for death is very rebellious, and if you want to promote it to the top, you naturally need to use a lot of cherry blossom juice. Yi Tian completely understood. So, he continued to drink the cherry blossom juice, and drank another pound and 5 taels before he promoted it to the top. In other words, Yi Tian spent a total of 1 caddy and 8 taels to raise the death substitution talent to the top talent level. If it was the emperor level of the Sakuragi super base, they would definitely feel distressed, but Yi Tian had harvested a large amount of cherry blossom juice, and he was not distressed at all. The substitution talent was promoted to the top level. Although the cost was very high, the effect after the improvement made Yi Tian very satisfied. The top-level death substitution talent could be used once every 3 months, and as long as it was within a range of 100 million kilometers, it could be used almost regardless of the distance on the Earth in a day. This kind of substitutionary talent was really very rebellious. The third talent that Yi Tian wanted to improve was the high-level soul transfer talent. This talent was also very awesome, and it helped Yi Tian a lot, so Yi Tian also wanted to raise it to the top level. What surprised Yi Tian a little was that it took 5 taels of cherry blossom juice for this talent to rise to the top level. The top-level soul transfer talent was much more powerful than the high-level soul transfer talent, because it could allow Yi Tian to occupy the body of other creatures, and it could also maintain a complete talent level without lowering one level. The cooldown time was no longer 1 year, but 3 months. In this way, the top-level soul transfer talent was very rebellious, and it would be even more useful. Subsequently, Yi Tian raised the shadow clone talent, endurance talent, beast control talent, and other talents to the top level one by one, but he didn't use too much cherry blossom juice. Ultimately, Yi Tian only had 1 last talent left and did not improve. Time talent. Yi Tian's time talent was only primary, but its effect was also extremely anti-heaven, almost more useful than the space talent. But the time talent was too rare. Yi Tian had only encountered a fierce beast with time talents so far, and he had never encountered a time talent on other fierce beasts, so naturally there was no way to copy other time talents. He thought that he would not be able to raise the level of the time talent for a long time, but Sakura sap gave him hope. Gollum. Yi Tian drank a pound of cherry blossom juice in one gulp, and immediately urged the time talent mark to absorb the energy of cherry blossom juice. Time passed slowly. Half an hour later, Yi Tian opened his eyes, full of disappointment. A pound of cherry blossom imprints, he didn't even make the time talent improve from elementary to medium, and the difficulty of the supreme talent was beyond his expectations. Keep drinking. Yi Tian swallowed another pound of cherry blossom juice, but he still didn't raise the level of his time talent. But Yi Tian could sense that the time talent was slowly improving, indicating that the cherry blossom sap had an effect on the time talent, but the effect was very weak. Drink. Drink, drink. Yi Tian didn't feel sorry for the cherry blossom juice at all. As long as he could improve the level of the time talent, it would be worth using more cherry blossom juice. 5 hours had passed. Yi Tian drank 10 caddies of cherry blossom juice, and finally caused the transformation of time talent. Under the observation of Yi Tian's copying talent, the time talent was finally improved from elementary to medium. Seeing this scene, Yi Tian breathed a sigh of relief. The medium time talent was much more powerful than elementary time. It could speed up time by a factor of 5, it could also slow down time by a factor of 5, and it also had an additional ability, time freeze. Time stagnation was to create a momentary time pause, but the so-called time pause was quite a bit of an ineffective life force. But for a strong person of the same level, this ability was very perverted, enough to turn the tide of the battle. And time stagnation couldn't be used continuously, it could only be used once an hour, but it had also become a big hole card for Yi Tian. Although the medium time talent is powerful, it should be able to continue to improve. Yi Tian couldn't wait to continue drinking the cherry blossom juice, drinking it crazily pound by pound, completely drinking the cherry blossom juice as water. 10 days later, Yi Tian had already drunk 500 caddies of cherry blossom juice. If such a weight was known to the emperors of the Sakuragi superbase, it would inevitably be said that Yi Tian was too much of a loser. But Yi Tian was not distressed at all, because he felt that the talent of time was about to transform. Drink another pound of cherry blossom juice. Rumble. The talent for time was beginning to metamorphose. For a moment, Yi Tian felt that his consciousness was in a state of condensation. He didn't know how long it lasted before he slowly woke up. For the first time, he checked his talent. Time talent, advanced. Looking at the 2 words of superiority, Yi Tian was excited. Keep drinking. Yi Tian drank a sip of cherry blossom juice, preparing to refine the cherry blossom juice again to improve the ability of time talent, thinking about raising the time talent to the top, but soon he was dumbfounded. Invalid. Chapter 223. Yi Tian obviously felt that the cherry blossom juice had no effect on the time talent. Let alone drinking a caddy, even if he drank all the cherry blossom juice, he wouldn't be able to raise the time talent to the top level. The talent of time is definitely the most mysterious talent in the world, so it's very difficult to improve. It seems that the cherry blossom sap isn't incompetent. If I want to continue to improve the time improvement, I can only copy the time talent of other creatures. Forget it, the advanced time talent is already very rebellious, and it's completely enough. Yi Tian comforted himself. The high-level time talent can speed up time by 10 times, and it can also slow down time by 10 times. The effect of time stagnation has also been greatly strengthened. Even if it's an emperor level of the same level, once Yi Tian casts time stagnation, they will definitely be frozen for a second. What's the concept of stasis for a second? If there's no means to save life, it's almost dead. And the high-level time talent also has one more ability, the Blade of Time. The Time Blade doesn't contain much attack power, but it's terrifying, especially for those who don't have a long lifespan. The Time Blade is enough to kill them. The Blade of Time can cut lifespan. With Yi Tian's current strength, if he casts the Blade of Time, he can reduce his lifespan by 10 years at a time. He can cast it up to 10 times in a day. If he forcibly continues to cast the Blade of Time, his own lifespan will be reduced by at least half. The Blade of Time is of little use against young and strong people, but against those old monsters whose lifespan is approaching, it will be terrifying. Even if the opponent's strength is incredibly strong, once the Blade of Time is hit, they will have to die. Yi Tian was very satisfied with the Blade of Time, and it could be regarded as a trump card. Of course, what he cared about most was the ability to accelerate time, which could completely increase his cultivation speed by 10 times. He had been cultivating for 10 days, and the outside world had only passed for 1 day, which was equivalent to 10 times the cultivation time of others. Subsequently, Yi Tian experimented again. The cherry blossom juice had no effect on the copying talent. It should be the reason why it's difficult to continue to improve after the copying talent has been transformed many times, just like the time talent. Although the cherry blossom juice is of little use to me, it's of great use to Yu Er and Sister Xiaoyu. And in the future, the core members of Tianj can enjoy the benefits of cherry blossom juice, but it can't be called cherry blossom juice, it must be renamed. Yi Tian pondered for a while, and then thought of a name. Talent Divine Liquid. The name Talent Divine Liquid is very apt, and in Yi Tian's opinion, it's much better than any cherry blossom juice. A few days later, the Moon Emperor finally collected a treasure and paid a great price. Husband, I exchanged 10 places for the Heavenly Monument of Enlightenment and 3 tails of cherry blossom juice from the Tomahawk Emperor for a treasure, a sword-shaped grass, which can help martial artists condense their swordsmanship talents. For martial artists below the king level, it can condense swordsmanship talents above the middle level, and for emperors, it can only condense weaker swordsmanship talents, but it's also very precious. Originally, he wasn't going to exchange it, but when I said that he had obtained a kind of treasure that could help the emperor level raise his high-level talent to a top-level talent, and there was no limit to the type, he agreed to exchange it, said the Moon Emperor very happily. I actually changed to a sword-shaped grass. Yi Tian was really stunned. Weapon talents and talents such as fist and claw skills are very difficult to increase, because this type of talent can stack with strength talents. Who wouldn't want it? More than 90% of the emperors don't have this kind of talent. You can imagine how difficult it is to get this kind of talent. If a sword-shaped grass was placed in the Sakuragi super base, it would definitely cause a group of emperors to fight. And the Battle Axe Emperor felt that the sword-shaped grass could only increase the weak sword talent of the emperor level, and he had a top-level battle axe talent, so he felt that it was useless. So he traded with the Moon Emperor at such a value. Earned. Yi Tian was very happy for his wife. With the sword-shaped grass, I can condense the weak-grade swordsmanship talent, and then I can use the cherry blossom sap to raise the weak-grade swordcraft talent to the top, said the Moon Emperor excitedly. You must know that although her Luna talent can comprehensively improve speed, strength, defense, and reflexes, and the amplification effect is also very good, it's much worse than the top swordsmanship talent. Once she has a top-level sword talent, she can cultivate gold-level sword skills, and her strength will inevitably skyrocket. At that time, in the same realm, she could beat the Tomahawk Emperor, not to mention that now she would soon break the 4th physical limit, and her combat power would skyrocket a lot. You quickly refine the sword-shaped grass. I will protect it, Yi Tian said with great anticipation. Good. The Moon Emperor sat cross-legged and began to refine the sword-shaped grass. A faint hum filled the air. Wisps of sword rules melted into the Moon Emperor's body from the sword-shaped grass, forging her swordsmanship talent. Half an hour later, the sword-shaped grass turned into dust, and the Moon Emperor was finally born with a talent for swordsmanship. Swordsmanship talent. Weak. Take the Talent Divine Liquid quickly. Yi Tian hurriedly said. What Talent Divine Liquid? The Moon Emperor was a little puzzled. It's cherry blossom juice, my new name. Yi Tian explained. That's right, if you continue to use the cherry blossom juice, it won't be good if it's exposed, and it's really good to use the name Talent Divine Liquid. The Moon Emperor also recognized the name. Immediately, she took out 1 or 2 Talent Divine Liquids and swallowed them in one gulp. Yi Tian had given her a lot of talent essence, so she wasn't short of talent liquid for the time being. Swallowed. Absorb. Swallowed. Absorb. A total of 4 tails of Talent Divine Liquid were used, and the Moon Emperor raised his swordsmanship talent to the top. Husband, my swordsmanship talent has been promoted to the top, the Moon Emperor said excitedly. Your next main task is to cultivate sword skills. Start cultivating from the basics, so that you can lay a good foundation. Anyway, there's a Heavenly Monument of Enlightenment, and it won't be difficult to comprehend the sword intent. Yi Tian said. The Moon Emperor nodded. Next, Yi Tian gave Yi Yu some Talent Divine Liquid, so that several of Yi Yu's talents were raised to the top level, and his strength suddenly skyrocketed many times. There was only the remaining Talent Divine Liquid, and Yi Tian wasn't ready to use it for the time being. Such a strange treasure, even if it was for a member of the Heavenly Pavilion, he must have made a great contribution, been loyal, and had no bad deeds. Only then would he give some of the Talent Divine Liquid. If given indiscriminately, it would definitely go wrong. In the following days, Yi Tian and the Moon Emperor began to practice in retreat. With a 10-fold time acceleration, the cultivation speed of the two of them skyrocketed a lot. Only half a month had passed, and the Moon Emperor had broken the 4th physical limit in one fell swoop. She had also comprehended the sword momentum and sword intent, and had cultivated the 3 bronze-level sword skills to the perfection realm, and began to try to cultivate silver-level sword skills. Yi Tian's progress was also very great. The Sword Path realm had already reached the 1-5 realm. Although it was still a lot away from the two-way sword realm, as long as it was a few months, he could successfully step into the two-way sword realm. In addition, Yi Tian was not far from breaking the 7th physical limit. Chapter 224. This day, Yi Tian and the Moon Emperor were in retreat, and the Battle Axe Emperor sent a message, Emperor-level emergency meeting. Yi Tian frowned. It should be something big, otherwise, the Tomahawk Emperor would not have called an Emperor-level meeting. And it was estimated that it was a big thing about the Zhonghai Superbase. Although Yi Tian was the #1 powerhouse of the Zhonghai Superbase, many things about the Zhonghai Superbase were taken care of by the Tomahawk Mercenary Pavilion, such as the maintenance of the formation, law and order, and the Tower Gate. All of which were led by the Tomahawk Mercenary Pavilion. Although Yi Tian's strength was strong, there was no way to replace the Tomahawk Mercenary Pavilion. Yuer, the Tomahawk Emperor sent me a message to hold an Emperor-level meeting, and you also received it, right? Yi Tian asked. The Moon Emperor nodded. Not only did the Battle Axe Emperor send a message, but the Emperor-level elders of the Moon God sect also sent a message. It seems that it has something to do with other super bases, as if something big has happened. Then let's go check it out. Yi Tian and the Moon Emperor immediately ended their retreat and went to attend the Emperor-level meeting. Tomahawk Mercenary Hall, Headquarters. Yi Tian and the Moon Emperor arrived hand in hand. Emperor Qin, Emperor Kerong, and other emperors arrived one after another and gathered in one hall. After all the emperors sat down one by one, the Tomahawk Emperor sent a piece of information to many emperors. Tianfu Base. Yi Tian looked at one of the bases mentioned in the information, and his face changed slightly. The Tianfu base was very mysterious and powerful. Although it was also a super base, it was much stronger than the Zhonghai super base, because the Tianfu base occupied multiple powerful inheritances. It was rumored that the Tianfu base not only guarded 3 or 4 5-star spatial cracks, but also occupied half of the territory of the Fierce Beast World behind a 5-star crack, and fought with that Fierce Beast World, and even had the upper hand. Of course, whether this rumor was true or not, Yi Tian wasn't clear. Because the Tianfu base was far away from the Zhonghai super base, the emperors were too lazy to go to the Tianfu base, and there was almost no intersection between the two super bases. Let's take a look. The Tianfu base contacted us not long ago, and sent a design drawing. As for the purpose of the Tianfu base, the information mentions it. Said the Tomahawk Emperor. Yi Tian quickly finished reading the information and finally understood what the purpose of this meeting was. Teleportation array. Yi Tian only knew that there was a teleportation array in novels, but it was the first time he had heard of a teleportation array in the real world, and the Tianfu superbase had already made a teleportation array. Yi Tian naturally didn't believe that the people of the Tianfu superbase had created the teleportation array design by themselves. They should have obtained it from a certain ruin. This is the design of the primary teleportation array. You can teleport freely within 100,000 miles, and you can use it between small bases. It is of little use to our superbase. With our Emperor-level speed, 100,000 miles is fleeting. The Tomahawk took out a blueprint and said. The Emperor-level nodded. The mere primary teleportation array was indeed useless. However, as mentioned in the information, in addition to the primary teleportation array, the Tianfu superbase also had intermediate teleportation array designs, advanced teleportation array designs, and top-level teleportation array designs. However, the design of the teleportation array above the intermediate level was naturally not something that would be given if you wanted it, and you had to pay a certain price. Intermediate teleportation array design drawing. The maximum teleportation distance of 1 million li, enough for the superbase and the Zhou base and the small base to quickly teleport. This would make things much more convenient. Once a big base had an accident, the superbase could send reinforcements in time, and the superbase could also quickly collect the resources of other bases. The big base could also obtain the knowledge of the superbase and make up for each other. However, for the design of the intermediate teleportation array, the price offered by the Tianfu superbase was 1 million yuan of gas stones. The design of the advanced teleportation array was free to teleport within 10 million miles, and the price offered by the Tianfu superbase was 10 million yuan of gas stones. As for the design of the top-level teleportation array, the Tianfu Superbase did not offer a price, because the Zhonghai Superbase was only 10 million miles away from the Tianfu Superbase, which was estimated to be less. As long as a high-level teleportation array was built, the warriors of the Zhonghai Superbase could reach the Tianfu Superbase in an instant. However, that was just the price of a blueprint, and there was a huge price to pay to build a teleportation array. To build a high-level teleportation array, you must have the help of a high-level space talent to be able to build it successfully, or use space stones to build the foundation stone of the teleportation array. Zhonghai Superbase didn't have space stones, and Tianfu Superbase had space stones, but the price of space stones was also super expensive, not cheaper than the teleportation array design drawing. Tomahawk Emperor, the Tianfu Superbase is completely open mouth. The consumption of Yuan-Chi stones in our Zhonghai Superbase is very serious, and those Yuan-Chi stone veins can only barely maintain our consumption. Once the teleportation array design is purchased, which force will produce this Yuan-Chi stone? Emperor Qin said, dissatisfied. Emperor Yi Tian, what do you suggest? The Tomahawk Emperor looked at Yi Tian. Yi Tian opened his mouth and said, I suggest that you should still build a teleportation array. As for those with advanced spatial talents, I am the one. I can help build the teleportation array, and there is no need to buy space stones, which can save an expense. As for why the teleportation array was built, I would like to ask you, if the entire Huaxia and even the superbases in other regions are trained as one, and all parts of the Earth are connected, but our Zhonghai Superbase cannot be connected to these bases, will it be much behind? If other superbases communicate with each other and we don't communicate, we will definitely lag behind a lot. The Tomahawk Emperor and the others nodded again and again. Yi Tian said again, not long ago, I went to other superbases and learned some things. Some superbases are very precious to our Zhonghai Superbase, but in their eyes, they are not precious. And some of the things in our Zhonghai Superbase seem to be unprecious, but they are needed by others. Once the teleportation array is opened, trading and trade will prevail and is an opportunity for each superbase to accelerate their development. Although the design of the advanced teleportation array costs 10 million yuan of gas stones, there are so many forces in the Zhonghai Superbase, and it is not very much to share them. And once the teleportation array is established, in case one day there is a crisis in the Zhonghai Superbase, you can also ask for help from other superbases, which is a good thing for the whole of Huaxia. I agree to build a teleportation array. Emperor Yu supported Yi Tian for the first time. After all, he was her husband. What could she do if she didn't support him? And several emperors of the Moon God sect also spoke up to support. I also agree with Emperor Yi Tian's opinion. What do you think? The Tomahawk asked the other emperors. Since Emperor Yi Tian has said so, then we also agree. One emperor after another agreed to build a teleportation array. After the emperor-level meeting was over, the Tomahawk Emperor was busy contacting the people of the Tianfu Superbase to discuss the purchase of the advanced teleportation array blueprint. 3 days later, an emperor level came to the Tianfu Superbase, with the design of the advanced teleportation array. The Tomahawk Emperor informed Yi Tian as soon as possible. After all, Yi Tian was the #1 powerhouse in the Zhonghai Superbase, and Yi Tian's participation was naturally indispensable in this matter. Moreover, Yi Tian was still a top-level spatial talent, and he had to rely on him to build a teleportation array.